I call this meeting of the Planning Commission to order. Would everyone please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, first off, I want to welcome everyone here this evening. Wasn't expecting to be sitting up here this afternoon. So, our first order of business is due to the absence of our current chair. We need to, and the lack of a vice chair, we need to have open nominations for a vice chair for the next 2 weeks, for 2 months, basically, until we can have an election, and have a vote on that so we can find out who gets to run this meeting tonight. So, I open up the nominations. Yes.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
Since you have experience, I make a motion for you to be the vice chair.
The acting vice chair.
Acting vice chair.
I second that.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I would ask for all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and I'll do my best. All right, our meeting this evening consists of the consent agenda from May 27th, the final plat for Toyo Motors, and I believe a brief discussion on Parkway Estates. And that being said, we'll move to the consent agenda. Do I have any discussion and or motions on the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve it.
I have a motion from Mr. Wallace
Second.
and a second from Mr. Sanders. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes have been approved. We move on to the final plat. And Mr. Hawley, will that be you this evening?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. Let me get this up real quick. Before you tonight is a request for a recommendation for approval of Toyo Motors and the final plat for that, PF-1-15-4735. You should be pretty familiar with this property by now. You've seen it several times. It's located at 1708 eastbound US 40 Highway, and that is on the south side of eastbound US 40 Highway, east of Southwest 19th. Property is zoned regional commercial. The applicant is wanting to do vehicle sales on this particular lot, and in order to do that, because of the change of use, he is required to plat the property at this time. The preliminary plat was approved on October 13th of 2014, and of course now he is requesting approval of this final plat. I did provide the background on page 3 of 5, and the only really significant thing is that since this particular report was written, the applicant has submitted the escrow for the sidewalk. Therefore, condition number 2 has been taken care of. You can keep it in there. It doesn't really matter one way or the other, or you can remove it at your discretion. But I wanted to let you know that he has submitted that escrow, and with that, I will just stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Hawley? Thank you, Mr. Hawley.
Thank you.
Would the applicant like to make a presentation? Do we have any questions for the applicant? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back up here for discussion and or motions.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Haney.
I make a motion to approve PF 1-15-4735, now with just one staff recommendation.
Second.
And I have a second from Ms. Duhan. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That final plat will go on to the City Council. And I believe now we were going to have a short discussion about Parkway Estates. Mr. Hawley, are you going to be doing that as well?
Yes, I will, Mr. Chairman. We can move right there. Let's rotate this real quick. Just a quick discussion. The applicant, in this case, not the applicant, they've been through the Planning Commission, and this particular development was approved. There is a site plan included with the 8.5 by 11s that were provided. This is the site plan. It's a series of fourplexes and a fiveplex out on the corner of Moreland School Road and Adams Dairy Parkway. The originally approved elevations were as shown and as you have on the 8.5 by 11. And then I've given you each the longer elevational drawing that looks, of course, like this. And we'll see if we can rotate that. It looks like this. So as you can see between the two drawings, and just to give you a little bit of review of what's going on here. The gables before were exactly that, and now it's a hip roof that's in the front on the elevation. They've obviously changed the material from a siding type of material on the front to a combination of stucco and stone. Other than that, the floor plans remain the same. And the site plan remains the same. It is really only the front elevation that they're talking about. So the side elevations and the rear elevation will remain essentially as they were originally approved. It's just this elevation that is changed for, I guess, for information purposes. The side elevation and the rear elevation will have masonite siding, and that's what was originally approved on it. So if there's any questions, I will stand for those. Otherwise, what we're actually looking for is the option to administratively approve an elevation change like this, or if the commission prefers, they can go back through site plan design review. But you should know that if they do that, really the only thing they're going back for is to change the front elevation. The rest of the site remains exactly the same. Floor plans remain the same.
Ms. Banks?
Mr. Hawley, on the original plan, it showed a little front porch. Has that been taken out now?
Well, not really. Let me see if I can. The little front porches were not actually porches. They were actually areas in which to put the small garbage cans, and the reason for that was because it's the developer's opinion that these individuals will be mostly older individuals, and that they do not want to walk to a dumpster enclosure, and therefore they're going to have garbage cans, and that's what was to be put in those areas. And those areas remain. It's just that now they're behind this feature and this feature, and there will be two cans. Otherwise, the doors are still recessed, and there is a small front porch, but it's pretty much the same as before. So if we look at the other elevation, let me rotate that.
Looks like it's going to have steps. Let's just walk straight.
What you saw here that looked like, get down here. What you saw here that looked like a front porch was in actuality an area to put the garbage can, and it was just a screened area for the garbage can. They still have that, it just looks a little differently.
Yes, Ms. Banks?
On the original, it looks like it was going to be level to walk in. Is the new one going to have steps now?
No, it's exactly the same. It's still a walk-in unit. The idea is that there could be mobility issues for some of the senior citizens that would move into this, and it'll still, no steps, still be level.
It just must be the rendering then.
Yeah, the rendering does make it look, we noticed that when we first saw it as well.
Are there any other comments or questions for staff on this? Opinions on whether staff should handle this issue or not? I personally, I like the new elevation better. It seems that it's got more separation between the front entrances so that each one is more distinct. And the hip roofs and the materials, I like those better. Just seems to be a little classier, but I think this is something the staff can handle without a problem. If the elevation is the only thing that is changing, I don't have a problem with that. Does anybody else have any opinions?
I agree with you.
Yeah, I like this one better.
Would you like us to vote on that issue, or would you just verbally,
I mean,
we kind of agree on it, or? Okay, I
Yeah.
would take a motion to that effect, that we can allow staff to handle an elevation change with no other changes administratively.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Duhan?
I move that we allow staff to make these elevation changes administratively with no other changes than what we've talked about this evening.
Second.
Second by Ms. Banks. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We move on to other business. Do we have any other business that we need to discuss this evening? Any announcements anyone would like to make? Would like to welcome our new counterpart here. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name because... Mitchell Peel. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr.
Nice short meeting for you this evening. Sorry it was a little out of flux here because of me getting to come up here unexpectedly.
No, it's a great way to start.
Anything else? June 22nd. Will Mr. Graham be back on June 22nd? Yes. Good, because I won't be. If there are no other announcements, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.